Welcome to Fresh Talk News Channel. Today, we're diving into a high-stakes geopolitical drama unfolding between Ukraine and the United States. The proposed economic deal on the table is being described as punitive, but rejecting it could lead to even worse consequences. Let's break it down. Ukrainian officials are currently locked in tense negotiations with the US, led by a Trump administration whose tactics are described as dizzying. Even by Donald Trump standards, the US is demanding that Ukraine hand over profits from its mining, ports, and other key industries in exchange for American support. This comes after a night of devastating Russian drone attacks in Kyiv on February 23rd, during which President Volodymyr Zelensky rejected the latest proposal, calling it unfair. He insisted that any deal must include military support. The talks are ongoing, but Ukrainian officials are calling the process extortion rather than negotiation. The fear is that, if Ukraine refuses to sign, President Trump could retaliate by cutting off military aid, blocking access to Starlink satellite communications, or accelerating peace talks with Vladimir Putin. The negotiations have been chaotic, with Ukrainian officials even turning to documentaries to try to understand Trump's negotiation style. What's clear, however, is the aggressive stance of the MAGA team. Since February 12th, 3 versions of the deal have been proposed: a bad one, a better one, and a disastrous one. The latest version, pushed by Trump's newly appointed Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, demands that Ukraine transfer 50% of future state profits from natural resources and infrastructure to a US-owned investment fund. This fund would aim to collect $500 billion, a figure that aligns with Trump's inflated claims of US aid to Ukraine since the war began. At current income rates, it would take Ukraine hundreds of years to meet this target. Zelensky has called the fund a debt repayment vehicle rather than an investment tool, and Ukrainian officials fear that signing such a deal would lead to public outrage and their removal from office. The pressure has been relentless. On February 12th, US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent presented the first bad proposal, giving Zelensky just 1 hour to sign it. A week later, a better deal was presented at the Munich Security Council by Trump's special representative for Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, and Vice President J.D. Vance. While it lacked explicit military support, it was less focused on repaying an imaginary debt. Ukraine countered with its own proposal, but on February 20th, they were blindsided by the disastrous draft from Lutnick, which dismissed all prior negotiations and demanded Ukraine transfer resources with little in return. The message was clear: take it or leave it and risk losing the war. Ukrainian officials deny that talks have reached a dead end, but the process is muddled. It's unclear which US team they should be negotiating with, as the Treasury Department and Lutnick's team seem to be at odds. Ukraine prefers the earlier Kellogg-Vance draft, which they describe as fairer and more productive. However, the latest proposal has left them questioning the fund's purpose. While US officials claim it's an economic partnership for reconstruction, Ukraine sees it as a blatant asset grab, with America claiming ownership of both assets and investments. The numbers also don't add up. The US claims it has provided $500 billion in aid, but in reality, less than a quarter of that has been delivered in weapons and budget support. For Ukraine, a country with a GDP less than half of that figure, the demand is an impossible burden. Zelensky has made it clear: I defend Ukraine, I can't sell our country. Some believe the punitive nature of Lutnick's draft is retaliation for Ukraine, he's immediately accepting earlier proposals. Trump's frustration is palpable, with one Ukrainian source describing the latest negotiator as a very senior guy who speaks only with figures and no emotions, no empathy, nothing. The tone has been patronizing, with implicit threats and claims that the deal is a transaction of love. The fear now is that Trump could escalate further, potentially cutting off access to Starlink, which is crucial for Ukraine's frontline communications. Such a move could force Ukraine into signing an unpopular deal. As one senior Ukrainian official put it, the negotiation is rude, but it's not the worst that could happen. Everything else that happens later will be worse. Thanks for watching Fresh Talk News channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more updates on this developing story and other breaking news. See you next time.